Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa salama tasliman. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wa salamu ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected shaitan. May Allah bless our master, Sayyidina Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, companions, and give them peace. All praises are due to Allah, for He is sufficient. Peace be upon His slaves, whom He has chosen. As to what follows. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I see my co-host is on. Alhamdulillah. Hey, Habibi. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, welcome. Alhamdulillah. I welcome everyone on the Nurzaman Radio show. I am your host, Habs Baraka, aka aka Saeed, aka Samir, if you know me like that. Alhamdulillah. Give me that cord over there. Yeah, guess who is watching? Alhamdulillah. Imam Naeem Abdullah.
Is network no good?
In the Gambia. Alhamdulillah. Let me plug this up. No, wrong device. Hold on, y'all. I gotta plug this device up. Don't cut off on me. 1 second. Alhamdulillah. Let me share this on my page. Inshallah, my daughter will be joining us this evening, inshallah, giving us some insight, some wisdom. Alhamdulillah. And I look forward in her sharing with us. Let me see. Put this on my page. Tune in now. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sakina. Thank you for joining us this evening. Alhamdulillah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just want to share this page. Give me 1 second. Alhamdulillah. Okay, I posted it on my page. Alhamdulillah. Let's see if I got anyone on the Mixler app. Okay, we don't have anyone on the Mixler app, so that's okay. The show can and will go on, inshallah. But before we get started on the topic this evening, alhamdulillah, I wanted to reiterate or remind the believers that there has been a phenomenon that occurred today. And I'm not sure if you guys realize the significance of this phenomenon, which was the solar eclipse. And alhamdulillah, allowed us here in North America and in other places, I heard Europe and Africa, were able to witness this great event. I don't know if we realize how great to watch something that we have no control over. It's not like we can go in the sky and make the sun and the moon and the earth move the way it moves. We have no control. That's only by the permission of Allah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Beverly. Thank you for joining us this evening. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for coming on to the Half Your Deen show. Wa alaikum salam to Lady Cats. I see you on the Mixer app. Alhamdulillah. So you just switched over there. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Hin. Welcome to the Half Your Deen show. But yes, we have no control over the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, or anything like that. And Allah made this event occur for us to witness His greatness. I don't think y'all realize it. It's not just an eclipse. Like I was, reading people's posts. Oh, it's just an eclipse. Okay, it's just an eclipse. Okay, it was an event that you had no control of, that Allah, with His permission, allowed this creation of His come together in the manner in which it did. So much so that during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one time when there was an eclipse, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam rushed to the masjid. He drug his garment. Not to say he had it below his shoulders. Below his ankles. But whatever he had on, he drug it to the masjid to pray. It was if he was expecting something to happen. There's another narration, and this is just a summary, where they did the kusuf Salatul Kusuf, the eclipse prayer. And while he was praying, he was reaching out to something, and then he stepped back from something. And the people that prayed with him was like, we noticed that you was reaching out for something. And he said he was reaching out for the grapes in Jannah. And that they would have been able to eat it at that moment if he was able to reach for it and bring it forth. And then they asked, you notice that you jumped back. And he said he saw something very hideous. It was a heinous scene. It was the hellfire. And he described this hellfire, and we've heard the hadith where this hellfire was filled with women. And it was asked, why were they in there? And they were saying it was because they was ungrateful to their husbands. Because of all the things that he done good, and he made a mistake or did something, she said, you never did anything good. That's being ungrateful. That's scary. SubhanAllah, like the Prophet ﷺ saw this. So as married women, the ones that are married are going to be married in the future or have been married, we're going to be questioned about our gratefulness to our spouses at the time that we were spouses, if you're no longer one. Or you have not become, but will become. Like, that is we're going to be questioned about that. And so, another narration, the Prophet ﷺ said he said, when you see an eclipse, call on Allah and say Allahu Akbar and give sadaqah. Then he said, O community of Muhammad, by Allah, there is no one more jealous than Allah of a male and a female slave of his who commits adultery. O community of Allah, of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by Allah, if you knew what I knew, you would laugh little and weep much. And this is found in the Muwatta of Imam Malik. It just amazed me that Allah pointed out zina connected to this eclipse. What is the atmosphere that we're witnessing, the events that we're witnessing right now in our lifetime? Zina, off the chain 2.0. Unlawful sexual activities going on all the time. It's no big deal. It's even done on the streets. there is no kind of shyness, no higher, no nothing. Sex is everywhere. And people are participating in it, whether they are qualified to, meaning they are in a situation, marriage between a man and a woman, whether they're in that union or not. They participate in it and don't think twice about it. And they do it with multiple partners. There's no sanctity. This is what we're seeing. And here it is in this hadith, connected to an eclipse that we just witnessed, given our situation, this fahisha, this immoral way. Allah in His mercy gave us an eclipse to remember Him and to ask for forgiveness. I think that's really deep, because right now sex is pushed so much. Illegal sex, evil sex, all types of craziness going on connected to sex. And here it is, Allah gave us an eclipse. And I saw in a post today saying, you think this eclipse is something, wait till when the sun rises from the west. And we know in that hadith, and this is just summarized, that once the sun rises from the west, where it usually sets, no longer tawbah will be accepted. So you cannot commit a sin, commit zina, commit adultery, you commit some kind of act that is qualified for a punishment. You will not be able to repent for that thing. It's stuck with you. So let's get on board. Allah tells us that we can change our sins into something good. Like, just because you sin, it don't have to sit there. You repent, and Allah will replace that sin with good. Let that be our motivation, because it's serious out here. We see the climate today. It's no joke. And alhamdulillah, with Allah's permission, He gave us an eclipse. Don't overlook that. You should have been praying. You should have been making those rakats to your Lord, not gazing at the sun as a festivity, as something that, to celebrate. You should have been on your rug, making sajda and begging Allah forgiveness and mercy, because whatever's about to come, you want Allah's protection. You want His mercy envelope you. You wanted Him to protect you, because you don't know what's about to come. But I know you are able to help me, Allah. That's how significant this day was. And this is a prayer that you cannot make up if you didn't make it today. You can't make it up. Once it went out, once the eclipse was over, that's it. There's no prayer to make up for it. So let's not think of these things as insignificant, because it's very significant. We're witnessing Allah's signs, His power, with our own eyes. We're able to see with our own eyes, witness this, something that have already been witnessed before. And you just take it as a joke, like it's no big deal. But anyway, alhamdulillah, today's show, we'll be discussing the topic of teenage love. And inshallah, we'll have my my guest, my daughter, mashallah, to, chime in. I'm going to bounce off of her some information that we adults may not understand or need to understand, or maybe we have teenagers in our household and we trying to get a grip or understanding, and we have no clue how to do that. So, let's begin. Well, let me ask my partner, my co-host. Assalamu alaikum. Imam, do you have anything to say before we start? Inshallah. Let's wait for him to say something. Alhamdulillah. I want everybody to think back when they was a teenager. I know all of us may or may not have been Muslim, but either case, you was a teenager at one point of your life. And while you're thinking about that, I want you to think about, what was your mindset? He said, nope. What was your mindset? What was going on in your brain of yours? What kind of activities did you participate in? What were your goals at the time? What motivates you to do anything? I want y'all to think back. And so, I can remember being a teenager. It was like I was carefree. I did what I wanted to do. You know, it was like I didn't feel like I had any consequences. What you say?
Not me.
Not you?
Not real Muslim.
Well, I wasn't Muslim at the time, I'm just saying. But you do have those that do have that carefree, YOLO type of attitude.
No.
What's the problem with that? You know, YOLO, Y-O-L-O, is you only live once. And the meaning or the philosophy behind that is that you only get one life. So you might as well take life head on. Do what you can while you can. And don't worry about the consequences. Because you may never get the chance to do it again. Whatever it is that you set your mind to. So what would you say about that being something like, why would that be dangerous to have that type of, you do live only once, right? You do. But being that you live only once, thanks for the correction. Well, technically, no, you don't live only once, but that's another thing. I was talking about the hereafter. Allah raised you back up. But anyway, this life, you only live once. Just do whatever you want to do. What's the danger in that? Being a teenager, especially being a teenager, having that mindset. You got some adults that have that mindset. What do you say about that? Don't be shy. She's shy. Like teenagers, do you feel like teenagers are easy to be influenced to do things that they normally wouldn't do?
Yes.
Like their peers?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Why?
They don't know any better.
They don't know any better? So they don't have a mind of their own?
They don't have enough experience.
They don't have enough experience.
Yes.
Good point. Good point. Good point. And so, do you feel like the peer pressure of these other individuals that comes to, hey, try this drug out. Hey, try this, drink some of this. Do you think they fall into that trap because they trying to fit in, or they trying to prove themselves? What is? How do they fall into those traps as a teenager? Like with that mindset. Like what is going on in their mind when those things present themselves, and
No one wants to be an outcast.
No one wants to be an outcast.
Everybody wants to be the same.
No one wants to be an outcast. Nobody. They want to be the same.
Yes.
SubhanAllah. Wow. That's interesting, because that was not the mindset when I was growing up years ago. When I was a teenager. Yeah, you want to fit in, but you want it to be different. It really wasn't followers at the time. You're more like your own leader. So you saying that people prefer to be a follower than a leader?
Yes.
SubhanAllah. Wow. Whew, we gotta make extra hard du'as for these children. SubhanAllah. Well, though the topic is a teenage love, I wanted to point out some things as parents we need to instill in our children. It's inevitable that our children are going to fall for the opposite sex, I hope. Because in Islam, we do not do transgender homosexuality. We don't practice that. That's not in the deen. You may have Muslims practicing that, but that's not part of the deen. But that's an inevitable situation, circumstance that we find ourselves. We have teenagers. You got all these hormones going. You got the boys growing their little beards, you know, little facial hair, little Have I been listening to Slick Rick? Yep. I can't get the song out my mind, the music. And you know, girls, you know, they growing their boobs, you know what I mean? Their body is starting to develop and fill out from the baby, you know, look. And then you have all this energy inside of you. And then this energy can convert in several ways. And one of those ways is that they start to become attracted to the opposite sex. But there were some things that I want to point out that we should be instilling in our children, hopefully we are, to ensure that whatever decisions that they make, it's according to Allah's will, what He will be pleased with. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about is teaching your child to be truthful. And in these days and times, in this society, truthful is not cool. Being truthful, speaking the truth, living by the truth is not cool. You gotta lie. As you know, Fatima stated, to fit in, don't want to be an outcast. So if you really not down or don't have certain things, or wasn't, you know, you didn't grow up with certain things, you resort to lying. And that's not a good attribute. That's not a good a characteristic to carry. Because Allah says in Surah 5, Ma'idah, ayat 119, Allah will say, this is the day when the truthful will benefit from their truthfulness. For them are gardens beneath which rivers flow, wherein they will abide forever. Allah being pleased with them, and they with Him. That is the great attainment. That's the benefit of being truthful. Yet society teaches us truthful is not cool. You're not going to be accepted. You're going to be an outcast. You're not going to be someone that people want to hang out with. Yet the Prophet ﷺ, he explained it deeper in a hadith about truthfulness. He said truthfulness leads to righteousness. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Chanel. Thank you for joining us. Alhamdulillah. Truthfulness leads to righteousness. And righteousness leads you to paradise. So unless you lead a truthful life that leads to a righteous life, that will lead you to the Jannah, to paradise. And that's what should be our goal as parents, and that should be our goal as for our children. But then the opposite happens. Falsehood leads to wickedness or evil doing. So if you're a liar, if you lie, you'll steal. That's my saying. If you lie, you'll steal. You're a thief. You be into thievery. If you can't be trusted, then I know I can't trust you. I can't safeguard my stuff with you because you lie so much. And that should be the litmus test that we, we use when we're dealing with companions, spouses too, anybody that we come in contact with. You could tell when people lying. Sometimes I talk to people, they lie so much, and I just sit there like, they just don't know. They lie so much, they don't even realize how much they lie that people see through the lies. I just don't even say anything no more. But to continue on, this wickedness, this evil doing will lead you to the hellfire. And he even added, a man kept telling lies till it was written before Allah that he was a liar. We don't want that to be written for us. Right, Fatima?
Nope.
How you feel? How comfortable you feel with, companions or people your age, your children, teenagers that lie? Like, have you been across somebody that lied and you like, how did it?
Of course.
How did it make you feel?
I don't know how to feel about a liar. I don't like them.
You don't like them? You don't know how to feel. It turns you off. Mm-hmm. It's like it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, right? And it's like every time people lie so much, they start believing their own lie. Yes, Sister Chanel. Oh my goodness, they believe it, and they keep telling it where they even forget what was true and what was false. And then you have people that lie so much that they lie that they got to continue lying. Like, they can't stop. They got to keep going. They got to cover that lie with another lie with another lie. Forgot the lie that they told like 10 times ago. And then they end up the truth start coming out. And if you're a person with insight and pay attention, you like, aha, got them. That's not what they told me. That's not what they said. And I listen to people. And when I get that aha, then I'm like, okay, I know what to deal with you. I'm going to leave you over there, deal with you from a distance, because you lie, you steal. There's nothing sacred with you. So with teenagers, that can be a struggle. Okay? The second thing, wa alaikum salam, Imani. Thank you for joining us, alhamdulillah. Second thing, as parents, we need to instill in our children, since they are teenagers, especially these teenagers, we got to teach them to be grateful to us. This society doesn't honor the parents, because, of course, there are parents that don't act like parents. They don't do what parents are supposed to do. They don't keep their children safe. And so the regards for parents has went down significantly. When in Islam, after Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the parents are to be obeyed. That's their status. Behind Allah, after Allah, His Messenger, the parents come after them as far as obedience. And so the children are taught, you don't have to obey your parents. You got the system teaching your kids they can call the cops on you. You got the system teaching the kids that you can divorce your parents. They don't have to be your parents forever. You can go to court and get emancipated. What kind of mess is that? No regards for the parents. What you think about that? As far as gratefulness, the importance of children being grateful to their parents. Like, do I instill that into you?
Of course.
Alhamdulillah. What's important? What's the importance of that? Why you think that I try to instill that in you?
So when we have kids, they got respect for us too.
When you have kids, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. It's very important because in Quran, Allah says, and we have enjoined upon man to care for his parents. Like Allah commands us to take care of our parents if we have parents. Unfortunately, my parents are not here. But those of you that have parents, a mother and a father, they don't have to be Muslim for you to take care of them and to have honor for them and respect for them. There's a misconception that once I become Muslim, anybody that's not Muslim, I'm not supposed to have any kind of relationship. I ain't supposed to have any regards. And no, that's not Islam whatsoever. And so Allah says his mother, and this referring to the female as well, carried him in weakness upon weakness. We know as a mother, what trials and tribulations and challenges you go through carrying these babies for 9 months, 10 months. And then they got the nerve to come out and talk back to you. Like, I don't need you. You're like, what? What? And Allah tells you, commands you to enjoy the care for your parents because of what your mother went through. That's right, you better take care of me. That's what Abby said. And his weaning is in 2 years. So even with that, after we carry you, we breastfeed you for 2 years. That's a hardship for some. It's not an easy task for everybody. And then Allah didn't stop there. He said, be grateful to me and to your parents. Be grateful to me and your parents. Are we instilling this in our children? To be grateful to Allah for what He has blessed you with. And to be grateful to the parents that are giving you in this life. You don't choose who your parents are. Some may say, well, my parents, they wasn't there. They abandoned me. Yes, there may have been somebody that came in to take care of you. That parent that abandoned you, you make dua for them. You try to have some type of relationship if possible. If it's not going to, be something that's going to cause some crazy situation. But that was your parent. You funny. That's how I preach. And then Allah didn't stop there. He said, to me is the final destination. This life is temporary. You're going to have to come to me, before me, and answer how you treated your parents. This is a lesson for the teenagers and adults, because some of us adults don't even know how to act. We're not grateful to Allah. We feel that Allah but cursed us. Allah knows best when Allah knows when you know not. Another point in regards to our children is that we got to get them to be disconnected from this dunya. We live in a world of social media. It's hard. It is difficult to disconnect your children from social media. Even if you don't give your child a phone or a device. They're going to find somebody that got a device or keep them abreast of what's going on. Fatima, as far as what you think about that?
It's true.
It's true.
They're going to find a way.
They're going to find a way.
Yes.
Why are they going to find a way? Why would they want to find a way? What is it that's drawing them to the dunya? What's drawing them?
You telling them that they can't do it. Making them want to do
That's why they do it, because I tell them if the parents say don't do it, they do it.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't got their own mind. Like, it's not enough to tell them that. What is it that the parents should say? What is it that the parents should do to keep them from doing that? Like, but sometimes the stuff that's on this social media is not beneficial, especially being Muslim. It's not. It don't add nothing to your akhirah, to your hereafter.
Sometimes they gotta feel the fire.
They gotta feel the fire. I believe that. But as a parent, you want to protect your child from harm.
Yes.
That's your, you don't want to see them hurt. Especially if you've been through stuff. You don't want to see your child go through it. But, so you saying that they need to feel it?
Or you tell them what's wrong with that thing that you don't want them to do or go on.
So you just explain to them what it is. That,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Explain to them why they shouldn't do it and what's the consequences. Because a lot of children are being lured out of their homes. I saw a meme where the unborn child was telling the doctor to wait so he could send this post real quick. What? Wait a minute. Let me read this. Real quick before he is born. SubhanAllah. In the womb. Wow. In the womb. Everything is out on display. It's like, SubhanAllah. Wow, there's no sanctity. That's crazy. And it is that bad, because you got people, they won't eat unless they take a picture of the food. You know? They, you know, doing certain things like something, have some kind of, my opinion, and it's just me. If you're doing something that's sacred and that's meaningful to you, the whole world don't have to see it. Like, you don't always have to advertise everything. You know? Like, keep something to yourself. Because once it's out there, and I have heard that 80% of the people don't care, and 20% of the people is glad that you don't have a thing or something happened to you. Like, it was some kind of, you know, saying. And I was like, SubhanAllah. So people are doing stuff thinking people care, and they really don't. I was watching where this girl was saying people was making fun of her. I forgot what it was about. And everybody was posting their pic and saying, oh, I was picked on and called ugly. And everybody was putting their pics up. And then this one person saying, boo-hoo. Y'all all ugly. I was like, you know, basically they was like, what? Y'all boo-hooing all that stuff. Y'all all ugly. What y'all talking about? And, you know, it was just no kind of mercy whatsoever. I said, these people is a trip. On social media, they are so outlandish. They wouldn't do that in person. But behind that keyboard or on that telephone, they would let loose about what's on their mind. But they will never say it in person. Not in the same manner. And sometimes you have people have full-blown conversations on Facebook, Instagram, or what have you. And when you see them in person, they don't say a word. What kind of mess is that? Assalamu alaikum, Sister Fatima. Thank you for joining us. And Brother Topiwa, alhamdulillah. Hope I'm not tearing up your name. Thank you for joining us on the Half Your Deen show. You making that go on? Thank you. No, that's you. No, don't say that. Assalamu alaikum, Zaima. FB Thugs, right. Right, Sakina. You know what? Hold on. My daughter talking about my equipment is doing the... Hold on. Okay, can you hear it now? That's better. Alhamdulillah. Yep, FB Thugs. Hey, mashallah. So, we got to disconnect them from the dunya. And the mindset of a teenager is that, yeah, you know, as parents, we teach them about the hereafter and all that, about the hell, the Jannah, the punishment, and all this stuff, the consequences. They go on with life as if they are unaware if that's going to happen. And so, they, as a teenager, being oblivious, they want to do everything, like we had that we just explained before, that YOLO mentality. And they forget that Allah's watching, and that those angels have their scribe, and they're writing what they're doing, that they're held accountable. But that has no meaning to them. So they just act the fool. So Allah says, O mankind, fear your Lord, and fear day when no father will avail his son, nor will a son avail his father. Meaning, the father won't be able to save the son, and the son will be able to save his father. Same thing with the daughter. Same thing. Nobody can save anybody on that day. That's it. Curtains closed. The fat lady has sung. Indeed, the promise of Allah is true. So let not the worldly life delude you, and be not deceived about Allah by the deceiver. So don't be deluded by this world. And I'm mentioning this because I want to lead this into our topic. Assalamu alaikum, brother Abdul Rakid. You only die once. Right, you only die once. I'm explaining this because, as our topic states, teenage love, that's something inevitable. That's a situation that, you know, as a teenager yourself, you fell for somebody, you had feelings, you saw them, and you're like, oh, I gotta have them. Oh, ooh, that's somebody I want to get with. And even in Islam, as Muslims, you see, you know, you're a brother, you see a sister, and you're like, wow, she's kind of cute. Well, I'll give y'all one look, glance. Y'all can look that one time, alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Hania. Thank you for joining us. You know, the sister see the brother glance down like, oh, he look kind of good. I want to tell my wali. That's how it should be, you know, the appropriate way. But we know that don't always be the case. But there's things that should have been established or instilled in our children even when this happens. Walaikum salam barakatuh. And these things that we have already enumerated. That was the third one. Disconnect from the dunya. Fourth one that we have to instill in our children. And these things are to instill discipline in them. Because some of our children don't have discipline. They don't know how to control themselves. And the one that I'm about to explain now is, I call it cut down on the lip service. You have teenagers that run their mouth. They don't know when to be quiet. They don't even know how to say what they're supposed to say appropriately. They just say whatever on the top of their head. When Allah tells you how to deal with adults, with authority, your parents. So as a parent, you should not be getting no or anything from your child. Because Allah says, telling that child, that's not how you speak to your parent. And this is what we have to instill in them. Even though you may feel like you don't deserve it, that's your right over them. Their right over you is to safeguard them and teach them and give them a good upbringing. That's their right over us. And so Allah explains, and of the people he who buys the amusement of speech to mislead others from the way of Allah without knowledge, and who takes it in ridicule, those will have a humiliating punishment. So you have those, and we're speaking about teenagers, they speak in a manner that they don't want their fellow, companion to indulge in good. You have something like, oh, you going to pray? I ain't praying. I don't do that. I don't fast. Yeah, I tell my parents I fast, but I don't be fast. I be sneaking a candy bar too, whatever. And then they'll be around another child, another teenager that may try to hold up, their deen. They're trying to protect it. But yet you have this one running their mouth down in them. And we have explained how children, they could be influenced. They don't want to, like you said, be an outcast. They don't want to be left out. They want to be like everybody else. When I explained that wasn't the case before, back in the day. You want to be different. But now everybody want to be sheep. Nobody wants to be the shepherd. Nobody wants to be the leader. And so this would lead into them mocking someone that's supposed to be practicing. Someone of their peers that's trying to practice, trying to wear hijab, trying to do the right thing. And then you have this child that don't know how to control their lips. Mock at them. Like, oh, you got to wear that? My mother let me wear anything. Or my father, he don't care what I wear. As long as my skin is covered. And everything that person wears is tight. That's not covered. That's not hijab. But this is how they were taught to one another. And so as a person that's trying to stay strong, it's hard that your peers is making fun of you and make you feel like what they're doing is fun and I want to be like them. And so some of them fall into the trap. And we got to remind them, my next point is that, and my last point is that shyness is a virtue. When culture doesn't instill these things in our children anymore, I'm reading the comment, it has to be taught in a class and made popular again. Sometimes this can take generations. Yes, I agree. It's not going to be overnight. You got to make being a heterosexual the end thing these days. You got this gender fluid stuff. This LBGTXYZ, MXY, all types of abbreviations for people now. It's ridiculous. This got to get out of hand. Allah said a male and a female. Anisa and Rajulun. And then you have the Waladun, the boy, and the girl. Subhanallah. But we got to teach them that shyness is a virtue. It's good to be shy. That's why Allah commands us in the Quran, in Surah 24, to lower your gaze. Not be all like this. You ever seen kids, you know, hanging, looking like this? You know, a group of boys looking at the girls like this, or the group of girls looking at the boys like this, like, you see him? Like, yeah, he look good, don't he? Yeah, I don't. Right? Why you think shyness is not popular? Why you don't think that's something that the girls and the boys, the teenage girls and boys, really practice? Like, what you think is going on? You a teenager, what's going on in your head?
I guess no one really likes that. A shy person.
Nobody likes a shy person? What, they boring?
Yeah, they boring. They ain't
Okay.
saying nothing.
They ain't saying nothing? Wow. So you want somebody that's out there.
Well, yeah, they want somebody that's out there.
Okay, I know I ain't talking about you. So they want somebody that's out there, that's popular, and everybody looking at them. And well, that was the case back in my time, but it's like real ridiculous now because you got social media, and you have these girls with these pigeon toe pictures where they, you know, they toes sitting a certain way, got the duck lips, you know, and the boys have these girls as their profile pics, like showing everybody, you know, who they with for this week, and then next week it be somebody else. Because we are taught that shyness is a weakness. Exactly. And those that's out there, you know, that's courage. Look at him, you know. He could wear them tight pants and sagging. That's what's up. No. Or she could wear that see-through stuff. That's what's up. And this is what our children, our Muslim children especially, having to deal with. And this, I know it's not easy for them. And Allah says, say to the believing men that you should lower your gaze and guard their chastity. Allah said this to the women as well. What is guarding your chastity? Because if you're not shy, you more likely is going to let things happen. It's going to penetrate. Literally for the woman. And somebody's going to be doing the penetrating. The man. With this, we have to teach our children to love their bodies. That it belongs to them. It don't belong to anybody else. Nobody makes that decision to do what they want with their bodies. Instead, we're taught if you don't let them touch your body, do whatever with your body, then you're not cool. You're not going to be down. You're not going to be part of this group or this clique. It happens all the time. Just think about the average child in the classroom. Shyness is punished. Eye-to-eye contact is encouraged. Looking down and avoiding the glance is demonized. That is so true. That is so true. SubhanAllah. That you have to be outspoken. But it's hard to do that and keep your, you know, lower your gaze if you're taught to having to look at people in their face like this. You know? SubhanAllah. And so with all this, these 8 points that I've mentioned, how does this relate to teenage love? As I stated, all these points that I mentioned is to ensure discipline, that they're disciplined. So when they get out into the world, or get out, you know, amongst the people, they know how to conduct themselves. They know what to say, how to act. And so when it comes to your child or this teenager wanting to participate in something that is natural, but yet there's a process. And so what I wanted to get into is how, Fatima, parents hinder or help in that process. Like, what is it that parents do that they sabotage their child and hurt them in the long run, versus implementing what Allah allows so that they will be able to guard their chastity or live honorably?
Well, first off, you let them know that what they're doing and what they want is okay.
Let them know it's okay.
Yeah, it's not something bad.
It's not something bad. Yes.
There's ways to do it, but it's not something bad to want. It's normal.
It's normal. It's normal to have feelings for the opposite sex, to be attracted to them. That's good. But there's a way of doing that.
Yes.
So that has to be taught. Alhamdulillah. Sometimes parents, they understand that and they ignore that fact that this is a circumstance that they might find themselves in, and they're like, well, I don't want my child get involved with anybody. I don't want them to get married. They're too young. They need to finish school. I want them to go to school, get a career, and then later down the line, if they feel like that's what they want to do, then that's on them. What's the problem with that? I don't have a problem with that, but what's the problem with that? Dealing with teenagers of today.
You telling them that they can't do something is going to make them find another way to do it.
Right, find another way. What's that other way?
Boyfriend and girlfriend. Sneaking around.
It's 412-567-3030. The call-in number is 412-567-3030. That is our call-in numbers. Oh, let me put it in here. Hold on. So you said that they have something else to do. Hold on. Let's see. We got a phone call here. Assalamu alaikum. Hold on. Let me turn this up, because I got a little makeshift thing here. Hold on. All right. You got a comment or question, sis?
As far as what you were just saying, when you asked Fatima about what are some of the ways we as parents hinder our Muslim children or help our Muslim children, and just reflecting back on my own children and, you know, the children I have in my life now, I think as a parent, me, myself, I hindered my children in a way that I really didn't impress on them to go about things the halal way, the way of Quran and Sunnah. And I think in the long run, that hurt them. I think knowing what I know now, I believe that because we're married for 4 different reasons, and the religion being the best reason to marry someone of a upright deen, that's the marriage that will last, inshallah, because we give our children, you know, we tell them, like, listen, you don't date. You know, when you marry somebody, you marry them for their deen, and inshallah, Allah will place love and mercy between your hearts. And for me, knowing that I know that now, I think that, you know, that's the best way to do it. We have a best example in our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the way he did things.
Yes.
So I think, you know, in that way, we're helping our children to have longer lasting marriages, and we lead them by example.
Right. Exactly.
You know? So I just wanted to call in with that comment, because I truly believe that it really doesn't matter, you know, as far as their age, as long as they're conscious and making good decisions. But as parents, we can also help further with them with those those good decisions that they make by letting them see us implement the sunnah and the way things are supposed to be done. And that's really all I had to say. I really like this topic tonight too, sis.
Alhamdulillah. Mashallah. I appreciate it. Thank you for calling in. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, no problem. Wa alaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah. So you said they'll figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Other ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what Imani says about being an example. That helps. And we have to instill in this, because we can't expect them to be a certain way if we don't show them the way and do it ourselves. So what I was leading into, they find other ways. We live in a society that's promoting homosexuality so heavily. The transgender movement so heavily. This gender fluid movement so heavily. So you have where these children say, oh, I can't, if I'm a Muslima, oh, I can't be with Abdullah. All right, I will be with, with Falan, another sister. Or if I'm Abdullah, oh, I can't be with Muslima, then I will be with, Abu such and such and such. You see how this can turn into something real terrible, a disaster. And so we're promoting that, but not really teaching them the basics. Mashallah. She sounds all about the breath. We have to teach them in context. And we should not discourage them from being with that other person. We have in his mind, well, I don't want them to get married. They're too young. They're not ready for their responsibility. But you're willing to risk that they commit zina, fornication, while they're at school or whatever that they're doing for I don't know how many for how many partners. And then you believe that after that, they're going to be ready to get married? No, it don't work that way. You should encourage it at the time their interest peak. Maybe you could say, well, don't you want to go to school or what have you? But if they tell you, I'm interested in Abdullah, or I'm interested in sister such and such, I don't think those feelings are going away. And you have an open communication, open relationship, then you're going to have to factor in that situation that, well, they really seem like they're serious. Allow them to get intended, even if they don't get married. Allow them to get intended so at least they can be in contact with one another. Because you know how sneaky kids are. They'll sneak and do it. Don't give them that excuse. Don't give them that avenue to think that they have to take in order to fulfill what it is their heart's desire. Don't make them feel like they're doing something wrong or by feeling a certain way. It's natural. Homosexuality, transgender, gender fluid, that's not natural. And we got to teach our kids what's natural and what's not natural. It's natural for a man to want a woman, to be attracted to her and her, faculties, whatever comes with it, as well as a woman being attracted to a man with all his faculties, the way Allah put it. We got to reteach this. We got to re-educate this. Make heterosexual I don't even want to say that. like it's the thing now. It's not a fad, it's a way of life. So we have to be more encouraging with our daughters and our sons. Some of them are not going to make it out of college without having any sexual contact with anybody as a Muslim. Passively supporting the zina of their children, but actively blocking the marriage of their children. Right, you are supporting this, and we know as non-Muslims, it was encouraged in some households to date, to have a boyfriend, to have a girlfriend. Allow them to go up in the room. We're studying. They all, lapping up, hugging up, going out to the movies, kissing, smooching, and all that stuff. We okay with that. But when it comes to making it an honorable union, we're frowning on that. We frown on them being engaged. Like, that's backwards. We want our children to fornicate. I'd rather them to fornicate than to get married and have a child born in wedlock. We encourage children born out of wedlock. We encourage bastardism. We would rather our child our daughters, to be impregnated by a non-Muslim than for her to be with a Muslim and marry and have a child in a beautiful union, a halal union. What kind of mess is that? And so this is what we see in our ummah. This is the quality of people in our ummah. We got zina, fornicating, all types of people in our ummah, because that's what we want. We trying to show or have this face. We want to show a certain particular view regarding ourselves and how we, upbring our children. Do it in an honorable fashion. They could be married and it's honorable and it's good. My daughter Fatima, she's married. She's 17 years old. And she's expecting. But guess what? She's married. So it ain't like it's a secret. She's not hiding it. She's not feeling any shame. She looked forward to being a mother. And she has a big support system. She has a large support system in regards to that. That's what we should be encouraging. They have 1,000,001 excuses. Exactly. This is what we should encourage. Not encourage, oh, my daughter, my son about to have a baby and they not married to nobody, but there's a baby about to be born. How did that happen? We got to stop that. How do you feel that you in the situation that you are in right now?
How do I feel?
Yeah. Being married at your age, because you are young.
I'm young, but I don't feel any shame or anything because it's halal.
Mm.
All out this for me, so
You're happy?
I'm happy.
Very happy? Alhamdulillah. Do you think it would be the same if it was if you were Muslim and you pregnant? How you think your life would be differently as far, spiritually?
I'll be ashamed of myself.
You'll be ashamed? And what else would you think you'll be experiencing? Assalamu alaikum, Anane. Alhamdulillah. I hope I'm not saying your name wrong. Thanks for joining us. Assalamu alaikum.
Disapproval.
You think you'll be disappointed? You'll disappoint your parents, for one, right? Mm-hmm. Your parents are disappointed because they feel like, oh, she done wasted her life. Like her life is over. She got to raise this baby. You're not married. And then when you do want to get married, you got to explain that I had this child out of wedlock and yada, yada, yada. You got to go through all that stuff. Why not in a halal manner? And nothing is forever. So say, your teenager did get married. That don't necessarily mean they're going to stay married. Just like you, us. We married. It's not necessary that we're going to stay married. They are following the son of Mary. They got pregnant without the presence of a man. That's how. No. Can't use that. Can't use that excuse. SubhanAllah. It's no guarantees. What's the guarantee that the union and whatever is produced out of that union is an honorable one and you won't get punished for it? That's the difference. You won't get punished for having relations with your wife or your husband as a teenager. And if you get pregnant, that child will be able to inherit. If you had an inheritance and you left one, it'll be honorable. It won't be a bastard. It'll be living honorably where they wouldn't have to be ashamed of their lineage or how they came into this. Alhamdulillah. Thanks for watching. Alhamdulillah. I appreciate that. You know, so that's the difference. And we need to keep that in mind. Your child, your daughter, your son could ruin their life and your lineage by not getting married, by ignoring those feelings. Somebody may say, well, they need to control it. The way this society, the children are not the same. The food that they eat, it does something to them. Their bodies, they grow in a unnatural way. You got little girls that's 12 that got bodies of an 18-year-old. You know, it's just crazy. And so when they get older and these feelings hit them, you just want to ignore it and let them satisfy themselves in a manner that is not honorable. You'll say, well, they can go masturbate. No. That's not an honorable way. It's not an honorable way. You want to encourage them to do it, to release in a manner that is going to be non-consequential, meaning they won't have any regrets. Having a child outside of wedlock is a crime against the child. Exactly. Because that child didn't ask to be here, and you put them into, you bring them into this world under that label, a bastard. And that's what they are. Any child that's born out of wedlock, meaning the parents are not married, is a bastard. It don't sound good, but that's the truth. And these, according to Islam, these bastard children have an anger issue. They do. They may not consciously know why, but because how they came here, there's an anger with them. So let's be mindful of our actions when we're dealing with our teenage children. Talk to them. Have open communication. See what's in their head. See what's on their minds. May not know that it's wrong to go out there and have sex with someone that's not married. They may feel that, oh, that's just for old people. That's not for me. You understand? They may say, well, it seems like it's more natural. I'm being a female. It's more natural for me to be with another female. It's not so bad. You know, we have to talk to them and explain, like, no, that's not natural. First of all, that type of activity didn't exist before the people of Lut. Before the people of Lut, people didn't practice homosexuality. None of that deviance. So that's not normal. That's not something that Adam, alayhi salam, his wife, Hawa, performed or was indulging, or their children. It was until the advent of Prophet Lut's people. And look how Allah dealt with him. He punished them. We have to teach this to our children. It's not okay to say that you are a female when you was born with testicles and a penis, and you're clearly a boy. Or likewise, you're a female, and you have the female parts, the vagina, all that, breast. It's not okay for you to say that you're a male. That's against Allah's orders, what He allowed and what He created. They were deprived of a proper lineage, which is a human right. SubhanAllah. We don't even think about that. We just think it's cute. So Fatima, we're going to wind down. We a little over an hour. What is it that you would, what advice you would give to other Muslims, brothers, teenagers, and to the parents? Like, what advice would you give them? Like, what would you leave with them? What kind of gem would you want to leave them to help them to navigate? Because it's not easy being a parent, and it's not easy being a teenager. And it's not easy being a parent of a teenager, and it's not easy being a teenager. So what gems would you like to drop on both parties, inshallah, before we close out?
Well, for the parents, it's Support your children. Help them. If they want to be with someone, help them. Don't just say whatever. Because they're going to end up doing something. Or don't tell them no. Just help them. Guide them.
Guide them. As a parent, guide them and support them. And if that's something they want to do, facilitate it.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes that don't necessarily mean that that child wanted to go get married. But you want to know what's in their heads. What's going on in there. See where they at. I'm like, okay, alhamdulillah. You're not ready to marry? I respect that. So I'm going to support them so that they can grow up and be upright citizens. Upright, honorable Muslim citizens of the world. Ambassadors of the world. And for the child, for the teenager.
For the teenagers, go to your parents or people that you're close to. Tell them what you want. Tell them about it. And be patient.
Tell them about what?
What they want.
As far as what?
Relationships and all that stuff.
Relationships.
Tell them what they want.
Okay. MashaAllah. So we're going to leave it. We're going to close down. But I want to thank everyone for joining in and listening and tuning in. I hope that the information that was presented was beneficial. Alhamdulillah. I want to thank the caller, Sissy Imani, for contributing to the conversation, and all those in the audience. Ask Allah to bless us, protect our lineages, protect our children, our families, and communities. We are in utmost need of your mercy, Allah. Ask Allah, please don't leave us to ourselves. Allah, please guide us and make us patient and make us how we supposed to be, for your sake. So, inshallah, we'll be back next week on the Nur Zaman Radio on the Half Your Deen show next Monday, inshallah. I pray that you have a blessed week. Keep safe and keep your feet planted in this deen. Keep it planted and help your children keep planted so that you won't be moved. With that being said, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal asra innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.